Hair design. The 10 important things that you must know when you're going to start designing hair. Let's take a recap from last week. So the elements of hair design. There's 5 basic elements of hair design, which is form, space, line, color, and wave pattern. To begin to understand the creative process involved in hairstyling, it is critical to learn these 5 basic elements of 3-dimensional design. Start off with line. So line defines the form and the space. You wonder what that means. Well, it's simply by having lines run through the hair. For instance, here's a line here. It stops at the chin. This creates the space. There's other lines coming down on a diagonal. It's creating a space. Here's a space that's filled up within those type of lines. There's many lines flowing through it, around it, and across it. By having lines in the design, it creates a movement in the hairstyle. So your eye wants to follow those lines. They can be curved or they can be straight. There's 4 basic types of lines. Let's explore that for 1 minute. Horizontal lines. So a lot of times if you're seeing a blunt haircut, you're going to see a horizontal line. That creates width within the hair design. It extends in the same direction. Maintains constant distance apart from the floor to the horizon. Vertical lines. Vertical lines tend to make hair look longer, and it makes the hairstyle look more narrow. So when you go back to think about different types of face shapes, knowing the different types of lines that are going to complement those face shapes is part of hairstyling. Diagonal lines. So they're positioned between a horizontal and vertical line. They're often used to emphasize or minimize facial features. It also can create a lot of interest in hair design. The curved line, it makes things more softer. It can be large or it can be small. It can be a full circle or it can just be part of a circle. It can be placed horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. And curved lines repeat in opposite directions, creating a wave. Now, if you take a look at the form, that is basically the silhouette of the hairstyle. So it tells you whether something is going to be big or if it's going to be little. It has length, it has width, it has depth. Okay, it creates the mass that holds your hairstyle together. And that is your form. Space, the area surrounding the form, or the area of the hair that the hairstyle occupies. It may contain curls, waves, straight hair, or a combination of different hair. But that is the space that the hair sits in and is the part that is the hairstyle. Design. So design texture refers to a wave pattern that might be taken into consideration when designing a style. Wave patterns can be straight, wavy, curly, or extremely curly. So straight hair reflects light better than other wave patterns. Waved hair can be a combination into waves that create a horizontal line. Or curly hair creates a large form. Here's some examples. So as you can see in the straight hair, it reflects the light, so it looks very shiny. Where when you see the curly hair, it takes up more space. Elements of hair design. The principles of hair design. 5 important principles of hair design: body proportion, balance, rhythm, emphasis, and harmony. The better you understand these principles, the more confident you will feel about creating styles that are pleasing to the eye. Proportions. A proportion is the relationship of one thing to another. The relationship between objects relative to their different sizes. Hairstyle can be designed to correct one of the proportions of a face shape, as well as chosen hairstyles can create the illusion of a better proportion to a face shape, or perhaps a body shape. Here are two pictures, two examples of things that are totally out of proportion. As you can see, the cute little penguin has a very tiny head, but a very big body, whereas the woman next to the penguin has a huge hair and a much smaller head than her hair, so they are completely out of proportion. When considering proportion, you must also consider the body proportion, just as much as you should consider the proportion of the hairstyle. When it comes to body proportion, you must always think about the body shape and size of the client. So if a client has large hips and broad shoulders, creating a style with more volume would be more complimentary. Same as the hairstyle would look out of proportion on a very petite woman. So the general rule for classic proportion is the hair should not be any wider than the center of the shoulders. So when you have your client sitting in the chair, you would look to see where the center of her shoulders are on either side of her body, and you would keep the hair in proportion to that. Balance. Establishing equal or appropriate proportions to create symmetry. Proportions of height to width can be symmetrical or can be asymmetrical. You divide the face into 4 equal parts, looking into each side and each space, making sure that the whole design looks in proportion. Often when you're dissatisfied with the finish of the hair design, it is because the style is out of balance and it's not in proportion. Creating a symmetrical balance occurs when the imaginary line draws through the center of the face and the two halves are resulting in a mirror image of one another. That means that it is balanced on both sides of the face. An asymmetrical has opposite sides of the hair that are different lengths or have a different volume. Both sides of the hairstyle are in the same, yet they are asymmetrical, meaning that they are the opposite as well. Here's an example of a well-balanced haircut. We would consider this one to be symmetrical. When we look on each corner or in the different halves, we can notice that it is looking more balanced. So it's considered to be a symmetrical haircut or a symmetrical style. Here is our other symmetrical. You can see that it is balanced. On both sides, both hair is drawn back equally and balancing that out and creating a mirror image on both sides. Here is our asymmetrical balance. Opposite sides of the hair are different lengths or have different volume. It can be horizontal or a diagonal line drawn through it. Yet it is still pleasing to the eye as it is an asymmetrical balance. Ask yourself, do you like things that are balanced? Do you like them to be symmetrical? Or do you like them asymmetrical? Are you one person that has a fireplace, and would you put a candlestick on both sides of the fireplace together, or would you put them on opposite sides? If you're putting your candlesticks on opposite sides, then you are a balanced, symmetrical person. If you are putting them both on one side and leaving the other side empty, then you're an asymmetrical person. A lot of times I will ask my client that same question. It gives me an idea of where I can take them with their hairstyle. If they like things completely balanced and that makes them feel comfortable, or they are a little bit more edgy and like that asymmetrical look. Rhythm in a hairstyle. So regular pulsions or recurring pattern of movement in a design shows rhythm. Fast rhythm, for example, is tight curls. Slow rhythm is large, sloping, or long waves. Here are two examples of rhythm in a hairstyle. So the fast rhythm has very tight curls, and here's some slow rhythm, very nice and soft. Emphasis, also known as the focus, it draws your eye first. You can have multiple points of interest as long as you do not use too many, and they should decrease in size. Creating interest with an area of focus are emphasized by the following: wave pattern, color, change in form, or ornamentation. Here's some examples of emphasis. As you can see, she has beautiful flowers in her hair. That's emphasizing the style and where she's probably going. My guess would be she's in a bridal party. You can see the other lady on the other side, and she has emphasized the straightness of her bangs with a color. You can also emphasize using wave pattern. Here's a slight wave. It's creating softness that draws our eye to her hair. You can emphasize using color. You can emphasize using form. Here's a very nice tight form with lots of soft edges. Here we are emphasizing with some diamonds and jewels in her hair. Harmony. Creation of unity in a design, and it is the most important of the art of principles. It holds the elements of the design together. It's like the glue. The harmony is the glue of your hairstyle. When styling is harmonious, it has form with interest lines, pleasing color or combinations of colors and textures, balance and rhythm that together strengthen the design. It is never too busy or not in proportion to the client's face and body structure. It has emphasis and interest throughout the style. It takes into account the client, the shape of the head, the length of the neck, the facial structure, and the body shape. That is harmony.